about Hyderabad's real estate market. Now, as we all know that Hyderabad, much like most other metro cities, has gone through a tumultuous period over the last 12, 14 months. In fact, the city was at its peak, particularly when it comes to commercial real estate, when the first wave of COVID hit us. Though we did manage to make some amount of recovery by the end of 2020, and we even saw the market stabilize by the first quarter of 2021, we were hit by another wave of COVID by the end of March, which sort of led businesses down the decline again. And of course, it's impacted sentiments of a lot of home buyers. Now, given the situation that we are in today, it is not surprising that a lot of home buyers are apprehensive and are wondering if it's a good time to park their money in Hyderabad's residential market. The purpose of this event today is to bring in experts from the industry to sort of speak to our viewers, our readers, our prospective home buyers, and help them understand if Hyderabad continues to have the distinction of being an attractive destination for home buying, despite all odds, despite all that it has gone through. So here's how we take this forward. I'll quickly open the floor to our panelists for their opening remarks. We'd appreciate if we stick to a timeline of 2.5 minutes, get their opinions on what they have to say about the Hyderabad market, and then possibly take some questions and discuss some pertinent issues thereafter. So can I start with, I can see Aditya on my screen, so maybe I'll start with him. Aditya, why don't you take the floor?
Hi, Siddhartha. Hyderabad has seen tremendous growth over the last 5 years or so. And mostly because of the pent-up demand we had from a long time. We had the education going on for a bit, and then we got some stability government. And we are one of the best infrastructures compared to all the other metros. And the rates are still pretty lower compared to the other cities. In the top 5 cities, we're still on the lower end. So I think we still have a lot of growth, and a lot of leasing has happened prior to COVID, and they have not yet been occupied. Once they get occupied, I think resi market will still pick up. I think it's a good time to invest. In my sense, I think we're going to have decent demand post this wave, and we're going to bounce back the same way that we did after the initial lockdown.
Okay. Mr. Ravindra Reddy, do you want to go next and tell us what you think about the Hyderabad market?
Thank you for the opportunity. Basically, the confidence building in the home buyers. Frankly admitting, in my opinion, that COVID made the people to think and take a decision much faster than before COVID, owning a house or a flat or an accommodation. Today, requirement of home has become much more important than before COVID. The only problem is whole world, specifically in the last 1.5 months in India, the situation of COVID made entirely different attitude, socially, culturally, economically, on each individual. We cannot anticipate or expect such a drastic negative situation. Something will have positive way that might be affecting the home buyers market throughout India, same in Hyderabad. But still, in spite of all these negatives, Hyderabad is not doing that much bad. If everybody is doing worse, we are bad. That means relatively we are better. At the same time, in the minds of the people, buying a home is becoming much more important in their life. Only problem in the last 6 months, I can say, the increase in the steel, cement, and every side, the cost of construction has gone up tremendously. At the same time, there is not much contribution neither from the state government nor from the central government how to get house affordably to the people. Only they are giving a statement, and everything they are shifting on the building industry, people like builders who are only business people. Therefore, it's very much essential for the government to rethink, because it has become much more important after the hospitalization point of view and food point of view. The house has become equally important. It's like an oxygen for the economics of each family. Therefore, the government also should rethink. Particularly, I would like to appeal to the government after coming the era. Now, unorganized sector of this industry, building industry has become a organized sector. When it has become an organized sector, the projects which are getting permission and construction, and after taking the RERA permission, all banks are supposed to finance at a reasonable rate of interest because it's an organized sector law. Therefore, a reasonable interest point of view to the builders so that no project will be unnecessarily halted in between, because all the flat buyers and home buyers are showing more inclination to the constructed structure or completed buildings. To do this, definitely each builder, each project needs a very good finance. After the era, everybody anticipated that we are sticking to the rules. We have become organized sector like any other industry. Now this industry has become. Therefore, it is absolutely essential to give importance to this sector by RBI and by central government, and they should instruct the banks. They should make the liquidity to the each project amount at reasonable rate of interest should come, because from housing, center and state is getting tremendous taxes. And they are really, if they contribute something to this industry, most probably they are going to get the double the amount. Anyhow, on the whole, this industry is doing a very positive need, because we are in the construction industry. Each family having a house is the particularly a middle class fellow. That is the real economical growth of that family. Therefore, each person is becoming a millionaire by having a house. Kindly, now government should come forward to make the builders to construct properly. I am not trying to say that you are constructing illegally, you support it. Everything is regularized. It has to be taken in a very serious manner. And certain changes are very much essential. Particularly, one more thing I would like to tell. As far as Hyderabad is concerned, now multi-story buildings of 15, 20, 36 buildings are coming, which is definitely making good buildings are coming, and a lot of income is coming through impact fees to the GHMC, and hundreds crores they are getting it. And this amount is going to contribute to the development of Hyderabad itself as infrastructure point of view. If this amount becomes 20-25% of state contribution, and the country is giving about 70%, ultimately development of Hyderabad will be very nice. Therefore, this multi-story building coming up is very good for city. And at the same time, it's very good for the government without much spending from their pocket. Customers, through builders, they are investing money on infrastructure. That's the way it is happening. Therefore, the encouragement, 86 GO has come in 2006.
Mr. Reddy, I'm sorry, I'm going to cut you short there, but we will come back to
I will complete in another 30 seconds. 2006, 86 GO has come when there is no FSI.
Correct.
The real fruits are started just last 2 years. I can say that next 10 years, multi-story buildings are going to dominate in Hyderabad, and the income to the GHMC is going to be 5 to 10 times more through impact fee, which in turn central government contribution will become hundreds crores, and Hyderabad government, there is no fund problem. Therefore, this multi-story buildings, what they are encouraging should continue further in the interest of development of Hyderabad.
Thank you. You made some very pertinent points, of course, and of course, FSI is a debatable area, and we are not going to venture into that right now. But yeah, you made some very interesting points about revenue coming into the government and the importance of homes that people have suddenly realized post the pandemic. I'm going to bring in Sandeep here, but before that, I also want to welcome Mr. Dayanand Reddy. He's the director of the TNR group. Mr. Dayanand, thank you very much for joining us. If you can hear me. Do we have Mr. Dayanand with us? Mr. Dayanand? I think you're on mute. Possibly we'll return to Mr. Dayanand in a while, but I'll bring in Sandeep here at this point. And Sandeep, you're somebody who has a yes, Mr. Dayanand, can you hear me? Okay, somebody from the team, if they can please check his audio. Sandeep, sorry, coming back to you, you have a larger overview of the industry, of the market. Of course, I'm going to talk to you later about the whole correlation between commercial and residential, commercial also being your forte. But tell me the whole importance of a home that we are talking about, and that seems to be a common consensus among a lot of people, that the importance of a home has suddenly dawned upon a lot of buyers with the COVID, outbreak. What are your thoughts, and how do you see the market, Hyderabad market, sort of warming up to it?
Thanks, Udita. I think I'm an internal optimist, and I feel that Hyderabad is one of the best cities when it comes to the overall fundamentals of real estate. It's not a speculative market, what we generally see in North India, right? But a very interesting fact in last 2 to 3 years. In last 2 to 3 years, if you see Hyderabad real estate, which was 3 years back, was really underpriced, and developers are struggling. And all of a sudden, in the last 3 years, the prices have gone up by 40-50%, and also because 30% has been the increase in the steel and cement and a lot of raw materials. But I'll give you some stats. Generally, if you see 70-80% of the people who buy real estate in Hyderabad, especially the flats, are from software industry. And let's say most of the people are in the salary bracket of 6 lakhs to 18 lakhs. As you know, the thumb rule in software industry is single digit hike. That is somewhere between 5% to 9%. 10% hike is also very, very rare. So we have an year-on-year hike between 5% to 9% in last 3 years. So compounded, you can say it is close to 18 to 20%, but the prices have gone up to 40% in last 3 years. But in spite of that, people have gone ahead and bought real estate. In fact, I was talking to Rajpushpa developers. As you know, they are one of the biggest developers in Hyderabad, and I took permission to quote him, to Mr. Srinivas. He said his best quarter in entire history of 10 years of existence, Rajpushpa was between January to March of 2021, right? So that is the same sentiments been echoed by My Home and a lot of other developers. Mr. Nandukishore is there from Ramki and a lot of reputed developers. What I'm trying to say is that while the salaries are increasing at only modest 5 to 8%, but the house prices over last 3 years and 4 years have gone up 40%, and still people have come forward and bought their flats. It shows that the importance of house to a person's life. Now, what they have done is, because of COVID and all those people who were staying in rental started saying that no, we need to have our own house, and the sense of security and sense of belonging started creeping in, saying that no, we no longer can stay in rental. Hence, they started buying apartment in spite of this COVID. But this recession or this COVID, I should not say recession, this is very different from 2008, 9, 10, when there was slump. A lot of thousands of people, software people, lost their job, and there were salary reductions, and they did not get hiked. But during this COVID, most of the IT companies, if you see their share price, they'll be one of the highest in their entire history. If you see their sales and profit after tax, all they are doing amazingly well. As a result, most of the IT companies have not fired people. Most of the people have continued to give hike. As a result, there is a very, very positive set of mind when it comes to the home buyer. They are not insecure about their job. They are not insecure about their what they are getting in terms of monthly salary. So all these reasons has resulted into people showing confidence and going ahead and buying houses in spite of COVID. So overall, I'm very surprised, positively, I think pleasantly surprised that the amount of the top 20 or top 30 developers, if you speak, last 1.5 to 2 years have been, in spite of COVID, have been one of the best. I understand initial phase of COVID, first 3 months was really tough, but after that things started falling. And I think give another 3 to 6 months of this COVID, once vaccination reaches 60 to 70% of the population, you will see again that confidence coming back from people to buy a house. Overall, I'm very, very confident about the overall real estate market of Hyderabad and the consumer confidence to buy flats. I'm not at all worried about of COVID-2 or COVID-3. That's my perspective. So
great. I am going to come back on that third wave, and there is a lot of conversation happening around it. I'm going to bring in Mr. Nandakishore here, and Mr. Nandakishore, do you agree with Sandeep when he says, and In fact, I have heard a lot of developers speak about doing very well in the first quarter of 2021. I think the numbers also speak for itself. We've done better than most other metro cities. Do you agree? Has your also company seen the similar numbers? What is your take on at the Hyderabad market?
I absolutely agree, Sudipta, in terms of the recovery that happened post the first wave. And primarily, if you see, Hyderabad has had a lot of pent-up demand, as somebody was mentioning, for quite a few years, and that was slowly unleashing into the market when we suddenly had the break coming by way of the COVID first wave. But contrary to what most people expected, the impact wasn't as bad as it appeared, particularly in the Hyderabad market, because the fundamentals are very strong here. It's a completely end-user driven market, and which is what sustained the growth. And the other point was, the point regarding the price growth also. I would say it was more of a cost push price growth rather than a demand pull, because Hyderabad has historically been underpriced for quite a long time. So even the recent price rise that we have seen, 30 to 40%, what Sandeep was mentioning, a large part of it was majorly a cost push price increase, because the input cost kept going up for all the materials, steel, cement, everything. And added to that, there was another major impact by way of the GST on the input tax credit towards GST, which was withdrawn. So what happened is, so there was a straight impact of that. Earlier, whatever input tax credit was available was now withdrawn. So as a result of which, again, it put pressure on the price. So the price growth was largely contributed by input costs also. Now, added to this, one of the primary reasons why we are seeing a surge in growth in resi sales post-COVID is because people's quest for better quality of living. So suddenly people realize that, quality of living is much better in gated communities, in organized housing, where you have all the paraphernalia and the facilities available in case of any distress. So which is what we have witnessed across the city, not just Hyderabad, but across all over the country. So what is here very important here is that I think now what is happening in this second wave is a brief pause, I would say, in the recovery that was happening post the first wave. So it is only a brief pause. It is not going to be a long-drawn lockdown or something which is going to deeply impact the economic. But still, I think the economic recovery which was happening has to continue. I think both I was just reading somewhere 35% was the contraction in the construction sector, and which I think has to be revived. And this is where, as Mr. Ravindra Reddy was mentioning, the central government and the state governments have to come together, and the spending of the central government has to happen, and direct spending from the government side towards infrastructure. And also, I think facilitation should be happening for the developers to, accelerate their projects, keep spending on construction, so that the overall economic revival happens. And I think that is the key to this whole recovery. So I am, as far as Hyderabad is concerned, I'm very confident that Hyderabad has always been a good market, a stable market, and what is happening now is only a brief pause, and I'm sure very soon this market will. And even during this last couple of months also, I can say there have been sales. People are inquiring. We are having a lot of virtual site visits which are happening, and we are doing sales. So I don't see a very big impact of this, but yes, there has been impact. I would be incorrect if I say so, but I'm sure this is only going to be a small blip. We'll be back soon very, very quickly.
Great. Fine. Thank you so much. I will bring in Mr. Suresh Kumar at this point, because Suresh is also somebody who's associated with a brand that has presence in other parts of South India as well. Prestige is primarily from Bangalore. And Prestige also currently has certain projects ongoing in Hyderabad. Suresh, what is your take, considering that you're at a stage where you're sort of selling your projects, you have work going on? What is your, what is your observation from on the ground? And I'm going to come to Sumant after this, because there was some conversation about homes and the importance of homes, and we've had some discussions in the past about it. So I'll come to you next. Suresh.
Yeah, thanks, Sudhir. So I think we all must have heard this saying of roti kapda or makan right from our childhood days. Basically, I feel there has been a lot of demand that has picked up in Hyderabad also, of course, because the average age of the buyer is reducing drastically. Like earlier, we used to say, okay, that the buyers used to buy at the age of 40 or 35, that is coming down to 25 and into the 20s. So people have started to realize, yes, we have to live our life. Whatever we depending upon our purchasing capacities, we have to go ahead and invest in the properties. It is not that the property prices are going to come down anytime, like the construction cost goes up, the land cost goes up, so the property cost will always increase. There is no second thoughts that yes, the prices are going to fall down, etc. I personally feel like the reason why the 39% sales have happened in Hyderabad, that is growth of 39%, is predominantly due to this reason. And moreover, okay, COVID, we all are talking about COVID. If you technically see, there are not much of job losses if you really notice, because we like I have not heard any big company hiring of people on a large scale. People are working from home, the work is happening, the economy is rolling, and then I think more and more people would prefer to go ahead and buy. And Hyderabad being an end market, end user market, the way Sandeep and Nandakishwar has told. So in the predominantly, like, people will come forward to buy their own homes in Hyderabad. Maybe and also the reduced rate of home loans also is playing a big role in this.
Correct. Thank you, Suresh. I'll come back to you. Sumant, I want to bring you in here. We are talking about better living, better quality of lifestyle, that people have suddenly realized that they need homes. We've had conversations in the past about how even the buying pattern of people are sort of changing. They're looking at larger homes, contrary to popular perception where they're saying they would possibly, pull their purse strings. They're actually loosening them. And people who, of course, have financial stability are looking for bigger homes. Do you see that continuing now over the next few quarters? What is your observation?
Absolutely, Sudipta. I think I still believe it's going to continue. Because see, now with the offices being shut off and then people working from home. Okay, it's not just people working from home; it's also the children. Okay, also they're studying from home. So there's definitely demand for more. The demand will continue to grow. So even if you see, I think in the recent past, I've spoken to a lot of developers who told me that the three bedroom units or 2.5 bedroom units are doing well than 2-bedroom units, because people still prefer to have an additional room. So I think it will continue to grow, and most importantly, people have realized the importance of space now. It's not just about a room or a place to work or a place to live. They need more space, because in this kind of a situation, see, especially when you have uncertain times, right? You need an additional space, okay, to move around. So as long as it continues, definitely the demand for bigger homes will continue to grow, and as just Surajji just said, the rate of interest have come down, so which is allowing people to also leverage on buying some bigger homes. Okay, great.
I will take the same question to Mr. Abhishek Chanda, and do you also, Mr. Chanda, see people preferring to buy bigger homes? Because the market seems to be divided on this, and a lot of people are saying that people with COVID and considering that health has taken a forefront, they want to sort of hold on to their liquid cash and not really spend on any sort of large investments. But there is also one section that firmly believes that people have understood the importance of homes and are hence buying bigger spaces. What is it that you believe in? Do you see people sort of opting for larger homes, and is real estate one of their priority investments still?
Yeah, thank you on that. So we are amidst a second wave of COVID, and so many things happening around us, and a lot of uncertainty as people are presuming. But as far as if you add a historical context or a reference to this particular scenario where pandemics have hit the world hard in earlier scenarios. Most of the world economies have recovered all the particular this kind of a scenarios in a very good and a strong way. And mostly the real estate market has not been affected by any kind of a pandemic in with regard to the historical reference. So when it comes to Hyderabad market in particular, the Hyderabad market is very, very unique and compared to its other cities in South India, which got as a geographical advantage. And coming to the home buyer sentiments, the home buyer sentiments have doubled, or I could say that it has increased over a period of time. So even during the second wave of COVID, we had our offices open from 6 to 9, 9:30, and we saw people calling and inquiring and asking and doing a couple of site visits happening at our premises. So I think when it comes to home buying in Hyderabad, especially, the typical consumer is a middle class or upper middle class consumer, which is driving the growth of the Hyderabad real estate industry.
Okay.
So when Hyderabad real estate industry middle class segment we are focusing upon, the budgets of a luxurious housing is, I could say, like 20 to 25% of the people would opt for it in general when the demand is concerned. So not like everybody would like to upgrade their homes and go for a bigger spaces. They would like to look at all the things around and then make a smart choice. So larger homes is not a particularly what people are looking right now, but as you know, the home is also associated as asset class and also related to their marriage, their social status, their job, and everything as social security. So I think buying house is more priority than the larger spaces. I think people would rather commit to buy in a good community, because suppose if you assume most of the working class, they hardly spend time at home. So if the community is very good and even the size of the apartments is smaller and it comes in their budget, they would like to prefer that. Not only any part, I would not restrict that to any part of the city, but east and north Hyderabad basically would be this kind of a mentality or a mindset, I would say. So I think the demand is going to be very, very stable and it is going to increase. People are just busy in getting their vaccinations done. And as soon as the demand revives and the vaccination drive is completed 50-60%, the lockdown relaxations will happen. I think the real estate, especially the home buying sector, is going to be stable and it is going to increase in the coming 10 years. And we can never expect a decline in the real estate prices, is what for Hyderabad market especially.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. Thank you, sir. And I will quickly bring in Mr. Dayanand Reddy at this point and then sort of possibly take some questions. So we have some questions from our viewers as well. Mr. Dayanand Reddy, thank you for joining us. I think we couldn't hear you earlier. I hope you can hear now.
Yes, Mr. Dita, I'm with you. Hello.
Yeah. Ms. Reddy, yeah, thank you for joining in. What are your thoughts? You also been somebody who's working closely with the market. You've seen the market through its many ups and downs. So what is your observation? How do you see the Hyderabad market panning out despite the second wave of COVID hitting us?
See, with an experience of 4 decades of real estate experience, we have seen up and downs in the real estate. But one thing is sure, the demand for housing will never go down. Because as the population grows, so they have to, they buy a house. So it always, the demand is increasing. Now, taking this COVID scenario in picture, so what I see is 90% of our customers, even our customers is coming from the IT sector and the corporate sector. So these IT sectors, they never lost the jobs. Most of them, they are in the job, they're continuing from the home. So they feel an importance to buy a 3-bedroom house. Most of them, those who are in 2-bedroom, they're, upgrading with the 3-bedroom. So because, one is, they work from home. The second thing is online classes. The online classes also, when there is 2 children at home, 2 kids, 2 rooms, because both of them having classes at one point of time. So in this regard, most of the people, they come and ask for a 3-bedroom house. And when these, the COVID is concerned, so especially, the housing sector, the IT sector and the corporate sector, they are now continue to work from home, and they don't know how long they have to work from home. Now they are almost adjusted to work from home. So they want a comfortable home to work. So in that regard, I don't see any, fall in real estate sales, especially in the housing sector. And they only look for an hygienic the good quality housing. So because health is also in play an important role. What all the amenities you give in an housing is matters. So if you give in good amenities and quality construction and given good atmosphere to work from home, and for the children to they enjoy their living in the housing complex, because they're not finding opportunity to go out. If the colony itself is giving an the friendly and an healthy atmosphere to study and work from home, so definitely there is a demand, and we don't see much fall in the the inquiries. Only thing, we have to convert them because of these lockdowns, and we can't able to give them a site visit. Once this lockdown is open, definitely we come back to the same demand. That's what my opinion.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Reddy. So we've heard from our panelists, and there seems to be some consensus about how the demand in Hyderabad continues to be stable. There are certain short-term challenges, but we are certain of bouncing back in the future. Sandeep touched upon it briefly on this whole third wave, and he, of course, dismissed any sort of concerns with the third wave coming. But there seems to be certain, just to put to rest the concerns of our home buyers who seem to be apprehensive that what happens again if a third wave comes, and will the third wave bring with it a drop in prices? Because each time Hyderabad goes through a recession, it is hit by a certain crisis, there is always one section of home buyers who hold on saying, okay, maybe prices are going to drop again, and maybe that will be a better time for us to invest. Now, the market realizes that Hyderabad is sort of at a much lower rung on the charts when it comes to prices. If you compare it to other metro cities, we are at a more affordable pricing. But is there any truth, or is there any basis to this this thought that a lot of people seem to share, that what happens if a third wave comes? Will the prices drop? Will projects get stalled? Because we did see certain projects getting delayed during the first wave. Of course, not much in the second wave, I would think, but in the first wave, yes. So what happens to the future of these projects, and should we then hold on to our investments for, say, about a few quarters more? Sandeep, you want to take that, and maybe I'll take it to other people after that. What happens if we are hit by a third wave?
I think, Savita, first of all, time is a great healer, right? And I'll give an example. I come from Orissa, and the great cyclone 1999, more than 40,000 people died, right? And everyone said that the state of Orissa has gone to 30 years back, right? And see where Orissa is. And so what I believe is that there can be a 3 to 6 months sort of a lag, can be 3 to 6 months impacting sales and sales going down, or few of the developers who are over leveraged might have to give little discount. But it is not going to change the 3 to 5 years projection or 3 to 5 years thought process of the developers, right? A small blip cannot impact the overall long-term thought process, right? They might have to tweak a short-term sales strategy or a short-term perspective and all. So I'm even if the third wave comes, it might hit in a short run, but not in a long run. Point number one. Point number two, whether developers will reduce the price depends on the balance sheet strength and the leverage they have, right? Let's talk about a few of the developers in this panel, whether it is Prestige, whether it is Ramki, very, very solid developers, a lot of balance sheet strength and all. Now, they can overcome that 3 to 6 months of sort of slow sales, right? And few of the developers who have over leveraged and sort of doing hundreds of projects and balance sheet strength is not strong, they might might have to sort of give discounts or might be in a panic situation because of the third wave, because they have taken some risk which is beyond their mode to handle it, right? So to answer your questions, it's all depends, but majority of the developers, I can tell you, being a very in Hyderabad real estate, most of the real estate developers, I can tell you, in Hyderabad are much more disciplined than anywhere in India, right? And if you talk of compliances, you talk of corporate governance, you talk of how to make sure the cash flow, even if when RERA was not there, right? And Hyderabad was one of the first city, or the only city to start that 10% being mortgage, just to show from the compliance perspective. So I'm not very worried about the third wave. It might hit 3 to 6 months from long-term perspective, Hyderabad. One more very important thing I think I was just analyzing. For last 2 to 3 years, developers from Hyderabad, even pan-India developers, have started taking a position of doing real estate residential development across Hyderabad. Till 3 years back, it was all about Western Hyderabad, right? Now you see prominent developers are taking a position in Kompally and areas like Medchal, Kompally and Suchitra Circle, whether it is Uppal and Pocharam, whether it is LB Nagar, whether it is Patencheru, which is a very, very good thing. First of all, it decongests the western part of Hyderabad. And why do we have to deny a quality living to people who are staying outside the peripheral of the western? Now people in LB Nagar or Suchita Circle can get that all the amenities of gated communities by Ramki or by Rajpushpa or by all the reputed developer like Prestige. I think that is one thing which is very good, which has happened in last 2 years, which was not there right from 2000, let's suppose 2012 to 2017. So overall, I'm not worried.
Okay. Mr. Nandakishore, do you have any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think
third wave will it impact?
I pretty much agree with what Sandeep has to say. And as I said, the first wave was a prolonged one. The second wave we are seeing is going to be a much shorter one. And I'm pretty confident by the time if at all the third wave happens, because there are also question marks whether it may or may not happen. But if at all it happens, I think the duration is going to be much smaller and much lesser impact. And by then, I think the vaccination also would have progressed substantially. So I don't see a major impact in the overall real estate scenario. And as I said earlier, see, again, the prices falling down will never, that kind of a situation will never come, because you don't have a cushion in the pricing today to the developers. Actually, if you see, on paper, it looks like, visually it looks like the prices have gone up from the developers. Let's say a base price of 5,000 a year ago has gone to 6,500. Today, it looks like a 30% increase. But let me tell you, on the landed cost basis, it has actually not gone up 30%. It would have gone up only 20%, because there is a GST differential which has come in. Earlier, the GST was 12% paid by the buyer, but today he's paying only 5% on. So the landed cost differential has not gone up much. So we have to take that into cognizance. So that is number one. Number two, the input costs have gone up so drastically. And it's not just the land cost, the input costs of steel, cement, they've all significantly shot up. So as a result, what happens is, the margins of the developers have not significantly changed. They still continue to be more or less the same at what it was a year and a half or 2 years ago. It's not that the margins have significantly changed. So there is not much scope left for the developers to really bring down the prices. So I don't foresee a situation where, even if the third wave comes and persists for a month or two, I don't foresee a situation where pricing is going to come down.
Okay, but Mr. Suresh, do we see projects getting delayed by any chance? Because I remember during the first wave, there was this massive, exodus of migrant workers, which of course this time we've not seen so much from the construction sector, and hence a lot of work still continues to go on in the city. So, but what happens if there is another major exodus of construction workers like we saw last year? Does that then mean that projects are going to get delayed? I think you're on mute, Suresh.
Sorry. Yeah. If there is an exodus of labor, like the way it has happened last time, so work is going to get affected. But this time, because we had this time. That is the reason we have educated our labor force also. Yes, there's nothing much to worry. Yes, there have been some instances of people dying because of COVID, etc. But as long as we are cautious and as long as we follow all the protocols, it's really not that much of a worry. So when compared to last year, this time our labor force is very much there. Of course, not at the strength at which we want. It is roughly around 40 to 40% of the labor force is right now there. And yes, we are expecting the laborers to come back from West Bengal and Bihar and all. It did have an impact on the project's timelines. Yes, there has been a delay. But surely, I think going forward, we'll be able to overcome all this and then it will come back to track.
Okay.
I don't see that.
So you don't foresee a very long delay, prolonged delay, even if at all there is, it's not going to be very long drawn. Is that what you're saying?
It's not going to be a prolonged delay for sure, because ultimately at the end of the day, even the migrant workers also need to earn their own livelihood. So they have to come and they have to come back to work. Yes, it is our job to ensure the safety of the migrant labor. Yes, whatever that needs to be done from our side will be done, and we will surely ensure the safety of the laborers so that they work the way they used to work earlier.
Dipta, I just want to add on this.
Yeah.
Because across the globe, there has been a very interesting debate over livelihood over lives, right? Whether it is important to safeguard livelihood or important to save lives, right? And where you can go emotionally and say, well, lives are more important. I'm not denying that. But see the first wave, 4 months or 5 months of lockdown, what it did to the entire economy, right? If you see the second wave, we have lost life, no doubt about it, and nothing can, bring back those lives and stuff like that. But the economy has not been hit nowhere near what it was, the way it was hit last year. So I'm trying to tell the topic across the globe. The economists are also talking about the livelihood over lives. So what I feel, and I agree with Suresh also, even if third wave happens, and see what happens in the second wave also, people across the states, the government have locked down for 3 weeks, 4 weeks, and not 3 to 4 months the way it was done, because at the end of the day, livelihood is very, very important. So I don't think, even if the third wave comes, it might again go for a 2-week lock or 3-week lockdown, but I don't see a mass exodus of the daily laborers or daily wage earners back to Bihar or Odisha or Bengal, whatever maybe. I don't see that situation coming in.
Okay. We have a lot of questions coming in from our viewers. I'm going to bring in Mr. Ravindra Reddy here, to understand. So now when we're saying that the market, irrespective of all its odds, is going to continue to be stable, how do you see the market panning out over the next few quarters? A lot of people are asking about prices. Do we see an escalation in prices? Will people who've already invested in their project in property see an appreciation? What is your take, Mr. Ravindra Reddy? So you'll have to unmute yourself.
Fundamentally, one question. Because of the presence of COVID, most probably, how many projects are supposed to be present in the market might be 20-30% less. Only 80% of the projects are in present mix. That's why demand and supply, if there is less demand, then the supply is also less. Number two, whatever the cost enhanced in this, the way Nandakishore clearly explained, the cost has been pushed. What way? Now, when we are giving to a contract, we are supposed to pay 18% GST, where we are not getting an input cost. Cement, steel, metal, everything 30 to 35% or 40% even increased. Labor might have increased comparatively last year's 50% also. Therefore, every material, every labor cost and everything is in a, and we are not forcing anything less in future. It will not be reduced, it may increase further. Another most important factor, when Hyderabad is developing, 3 years back, what land cost was there? When 5 projects have come, automatically land cost will double because of the 5 projects. Today, when I am going and trying to put in my very existing to my old project, my cost of land, that means the cost of land is increasing, cost of construction is increasing, cost of labor is increasing. When our total cost is becoming, let's say, instead of 3,000, 4,000 without profit, the profit margin when we take 20 or 30, that is also increasing on the lump sum amount. Instead of 3,000, if I am having 20%, and 4,000 I am having 4%, again it is 10% is having more. That way, the probability of reduction in Hyderabad rate-wise is very, very, very meager. Only there are other areas, the way Satya told, saying that the projects-wise, because of this reason, because of that reason, otherwise there is too many projects, they could not be able to manage well. They are under stress. That those things cannot be taken practically, right? Therefore, I personally feel, I advise my home buyers that the rate may not be decreasing further. It's a right time in the sense, I don't know how many months the 7%, 6% rate of interest of home loans, we don't know. Therefore, such advantage when you are having home loan rate of interest, one should think of buying. Ultimately, buying a house has become absolutely essential for one family, even second house also, because that is asset is going to be. In India, only one item is inflation proof. That is buying a flat with home loan, because your home loan is coming at 6 to 7%. Your interest rates, your inflation rate is not less than 4 to 5%. In 3 years, if you take back 12% is inflation, whereas you are paying 6%, the net interest you are paying -6. That means you are getting home loan almost interest free. That's why your flat which you are buying for 20 lakhs or 50 lakhs, after 15 years it is becoming 2 crores because adding this inflation cost. That's why definitely I don't foresee a reduction. There is no speculation in the builders increasing cost from 5,000 to 6,000. And there is no decrease possibility in the houses, I mean the land cost. There is no decrease possible in the construction cost. There is not a decrease from anywhere like GHG costs or this cost everywhere. It is going to increase or status quo. And here the builders' competition is very high. That's why the builders cannot exploit the situation the way they want in other cities, because too much competition. They have to be on a thinner edge. Like 10% or 20%, they have to take margin. Hyderabad is the best destination as per the rate, quality, as well as the location in the Indian map and atmosphere in every angle. Hyderabad is doing well, Hyderabad will do well, and home buyers can take it all into consideration. They can have, definitely now also they can buy. This is what my advice.
Great. My team is telling me that I have exactly 10 minutes and I have a lot of questions. Quickly, Sumant, Aditya, Mr. Dayanand, I'm going to go to you. Sumant, one question that a lot of people are asking is, while many people seem to believe that, people are looking at gated communities for better lifestyles, open spaces, a more community sort of feeling. There is also, on the other hand, concerns about being in gated communities because we saw many of them becoming hotbeds of COVID. So, what is your observation? And if people are asking for advice also, as in, is it a good idea to sort of invest in a gated community, or is it better to possibly go 10 kilometers further down and buy an individual house? What is your advice?
See, it doesn't matter, Smita. See, it's a personal preference. Okay, so at the end of the day, see, no matter where you go, today you need an infrastructure. I mean, to have to be a part of our society. Now, whether you go 10 kilometers away or whether you are within the city, a gated community is always a gated community, because government is not no more providing that social infrastructure which they used to provide in the past. Now people need a lot of infrastructure. See, the kids needs a play area. Okay, the society needs some recreational areas. All these are developed by developers today. Okay, so it doesn't really matter where they're going and living today. See, so probably. If you're going 10 kilometers away, probably you're living in a bigger, much larger gated community. So gated communities are here to stay. Okay, so they are the future. Irrespective of what is happening, see, whatever is happening today is all about, okay, it's just a temporary phenomenon. It's not going to continue forever. So I think we'll definitely find a solution to the current pandemic. I think, see, the third wave which you're discussing earlier, I hope that it doesn't even happen. And I think probably people have understood COVID better than the last time. Last time, in the last wave, I think we were not aware, okay, so how of its consequences. Now people have seen, okay, so how it can affect our lives. I'm sure people will be conscious in the way actually they're going to look at things in the near future. Okay. And I'm sure the demand for gated communities are going to continue and they'll remain the same. It'll remain the same.
Okay. Aditya and Abhishek, I'm going to go to you and ask you, there is a lot of conversation about, somebody has asked that the middle class has taken the maximum beating when it comes to COVID. So what about affordable housing? Nobody seems to be speaking about that in Hyderabad. What are your thoughts?
As far as affordable housing is concerned, the affordable housing, there are no big projects in Hyderabad with regard to the affordable housing. And there is a lot of scope of improvement for affordable housing sector. And as a group, we are coming up with a affordable housing sector in Bachpal area, and we have seen tremendous and enormous response for that. And even though the unit sizes are smaller in terms of restriction for affordable housing, in order to pass on the benefits and all to the customers, and it is a lot of advantages. And if you see, the interest rates for home loans are at 15 to 18 years low at now. And affordable housing is definitely going to pick up, and because that particular price bracket in other cities, it is very difficult to achieve. But being Hyderabad and it is spread around the four sides, and it has a geographical advantage, and we can see much more projects of affordable housing coming up in the next few years is what my expectation is.
What is the price bracket for affordable housing in Hyderabad, sir?
Price bracket is around 35 to 40 lakhs, but the restriction for affordable housing is in terms of the area, not about the pricing. The area has to be restricted, like somewhere approximately 1,000 square feet. So that is what is the restriction of the cap. The same area, if you compare for Bangalore or other cities, it might be little higher side of the price. So it is and the land bank availability issues as well. So Hyderabad is the best city for affordable housing projects, and if one or two get succeeded, I think similar model will be replicated, and it will benefit many of the home buyers in the coming days.
Aditya, I'm going to bring you in here. And do you also think Hyderabad is a great market for affordable housing? Because I agree with a lot of viewers who say that, while we've been talking about it, we really don't see too much happening on the ground. Of course, developers say that they have their own challenges. So is it a great market for affordable housing? And going forward, the other thing that I want to know from you is, going forward, are we going to see any change in format of projects by developers to cater? Is there like a renewed, sort of requirement among buyers that we will see developers catering to?
I think affordable housing has a lot of potential in Hyderabad. I've just seen a recent study where it states the average size of unit sizes sold across cities. If you see, Bombay is about 660 square feet odd, and across the city, its average is about 1,000 square feet. And if you see, the average unit size sold in Hyderabad is 1,700, which is almost 60% more than the average unit size across India. So I think a lot of developers are concentrating on 3 BHKs and higher large space units. And I think there's a lot of demand for affordable housing. A lot of developers are looking into it. Next few years, I think it has a lot of potential. We personally are also looking for it, but as I said, there are a lot of challenges in affordable housing, and cost of construction has gone up. So the typical sizes have to come down. So we really don't know if the customers would prefer the smaller sizes. Again, as you said, due to pandemic, what are the changes in planning? Everyone wants an extra room. Everyone wants more space. People have realized the importance of space. So it's contradicting that. But I personally feel COVID's not going to be there for a long time. It's going to be there for a few, maybe a year or two. Everyone's going to get vaccinated. We're going to overcome this. And I think affordable housing has a huge potential in Hyderabad.
Okay. Mr. Danand, I'm going to quickly bring you in before I go for closing remarks, which exactly 30-second closing remarks to all of you. Again, a lot of questions coming in. Somebody asks if there is resale of flats going to come up anytime soon. Do you think there'll be a resale of flats? A lot of people will be selling off their property to liquidate cash. That's what I'm guessing.
It is not exactly for liquidating. What I see is they are shifting from 2-bedroom to 3-bedroom. That is where the 2-bedroom flats are selling. The people are misunderstood that they are liquidating for just to liquidate the cash. It's not exactly. They're upgrading their flat from 2 bedrooms to 3 bedroom. That is where the second hand plots also is in sale.
Okay, okay. So you're saying that people are buying larger spaces and hence
Yes.
doing away with their smaller spaces. Fine. We have exactly 5 minutes on the clock, and I'm going to go for quick closing comments from all of you. What I gather is all of us have agreed on certain things. One, that the COVID phase is only a temporary phase and we are going to bounce back soon. Prices, of course, are not going to reduce any further. We are already at a very competitive pricing in the market. Great time for buyers. And of course, Hyderabad is an end user driven market. So great time for buyers to pick up houses. A lot of people looking at larger spaces, people with financial stability. I think these are the major takeaways from the forum. I'm going to go for closing comments. One line of advice, piece of advice to prospective home buyers listening in. I'll start with, I can see Aditya on my screen, so I'll start with Aditya and go forward. Aditya, your closing remarks, 30 seconds, please. Yeah.
I think it's a perfect time to invest. I think there's going to be a slowdown for about 3 months post this, but people are going to bounce back quickly. I think it's a really good time to buy. As everyone said, the interest rates for home buying is at an all-time low. Even the prices are going to go up. Let's say an FSI limitation comes down. So it's going to go up. It's not going to go down. Cost of construction is going up. So it's the right time to invest for all the buyers.
Okay. Mr. Nandakishore.
Yeah, I would always say that, real estate has been the most attractive and the safest asset class. And it's not just that, our elders used to say, always have a real estate asset in your portfolio. So I would only advise the buyers, please stay put into real estate and you will see great returns. And I can also tell that, I would like to take this opportunity to say that, all the home buyers have been fantastic in Hyderabad, and developers as a whole will definitely endeavor to give you the best possible quality at the most competitive prices.
Great. Mr. Ravindra Reddy, closing remarks from you.
Hyderabad is very famous for the software people who are having about 10 to 20 lakhs salaries. Already they might be owning flats or houses. For such people in affordable housing, Hyderabad, many affordable housing projects are there. It's very good for them to second home, third home by taking a home loan if they take, and after 5 years if they sell, they will make good money and it will be a solution for the rental housing. At the same time, a good number of software people can make a good investment, and the real estate is one of the best investment through home loan. That is the best. I advise all the high-end people who are getting better salaries, they can think about buying affordable housing for the purpose of investment. Hello? Hello?
Hello, Sandeep, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, Sudhir.
I can hear you.
Yeah. So like I said, you were of course an eternal optimist. So closing remarks from the optimist.
Yeah, so I always, my piece of advice to home buyer is don't shortchange your long-term objective with short-term issues. We are having some issues, and it is human tragedies which might last for 3 months, 6 months, 8 months. But please don't change your long-term strategy of buying a house just because of the short term. Please go ahead and then buy your house, and then this is the right time. That's my piece of input for the home buyers.
Okay, great. Thank you. Mr. Abhi, your thoughts, please.
Yeah, like all earlier pandemics, COVID-19 is also going to come to an end, and home buying is historically most suggested asset class, and it is a status symbol. So it is the right time for any home buyer to invest into Hyderabad real estate market, because the infrastructure which the city is going to offer and the lifestyle the city is going to offer is unparalleled to the what prices are today. So that's it. And any day COVID-19 will come to an end, and again we get back to normal in the future coming days.
Yeah, sorry. something. Can you hear now?
There's some issue with Sudipta. Suresh, can you go ahead and give your closing comments?
I would personally recommend to all the home buyers, whosoever is interested in buying, go ahead and make the decision very fast, as early as possible. Please visit all the properties which you, depending upon your budget, you can just go ahead and finalize, because this is one of those assets which is going to appreciate in value. But even when please don't worry about the interest rates, inflation and all that. You are going to benefit big time in the long term. If you buy an apartment, if you have decided to buy something, please go ahead and buy. Take your decision as early as possible. That would be my suggestion to the US home buyers.
Suman, do you want to give your closing remarks?
Real estate is the only asset that is a need. So there's no other need, okay, that is real. So I would say go ahead and invest in your homes, because that's the only thing that is keeping you safe. And it's only as things progress, the markets will continue to grow. So if you really take, okay, the last 20-year index, so there were crashes in between, but still, if you compare the prices, I think the prices are always been at an all-time, always have grown from there. So don't hold your decisions. If you already made up your mind, invest in the property you choose, you have already chosen. Or if you're not chosen, start looking for it. I think this is the best time actually for you to invest in real estate.
Great. I think I'm back finally. I hope everybody can hear me.
Yeah, we are here.
Yeah, thanks, Sandeep. Thanks, Sandeep, for taking over. I think we only have left Mr. Dayanand. Mr. Dayanand, your closing remarks, please.
Madam, see, this is the very right time to buy a home. For two reasons: banks are flooded with the money; they are looking for the borrowers. So this is the time where they can get the money for a very low interest. And also, this is the right time. This is the buyer's market, so they can quickly make a decision and buy a housing. So that the always real estate market. Anywhere you can lose money. You can lose money in the share market. You can lose money in the gold. You can lose anywhere. But in the real estate market, till date, nobody has lost money, because always real estate is in appreciation mode.
Okay. So our primary takeaway is, please go ahead and buy that house that you've been holding on to or thinking of investing in, because this is the right time. I would like to thank all of you for joining us today. I think we are completely out of time. So thank you so much for making the time. And I'm really sorry about the technical glitch at the end of it. But thank you so much for making the time. Thank you for instilling confidence in prospective home buyers. A lot of people I know in Hyderabad are still sitting on the fence, not knowing whether they should go ahead with that purchase or not. So thank you so much for building confidence among them. And we hope to be in touch to discuss the sector further. On behalf of Times of India, this is Sudipta signing off for now. Thank you.
Thank you so much. It was nice. Thank you very much.
And thank you, Times of India.
Thank you.